A river can teach you something cruel, not with words, with weight. It was a cold morning in ancient China, one of those mornings where mist sits low on the earth, and even the birds seem to hold their breath. An old monk walked along a mountain road with his young novice beside him. Their robes were simple, their sandals were wet, their bowls clinked softly with each step. They were traveling to study sacred teachings, walking the long way because the long way teaches you more. By noon, they reached a river. The water was swollen from recent rains. It moved fast, dark, restless, full of force. And near the bank stood a young woman in plain travel clothes, hair pinned neatly, feet hovering at the edge as if the water might bite. Her face was calm, but her hands were clenched. The nearest bridge had collapsed. Only broken wood remained, like ribs sticking out of the mud. She looked from one side to the other, trapped between fear and urgency. The novice monk saw her and immediately looked away. He knew the rules. A monk should not touch a woman, not even to help. But the old monk didn't hesitate. He stepped into the shallows. The river pushed against his legs like an animal. He reached the woman. "Hold tight," he said, not warmly, not coldly, just plainly. Then he lifted her onto his back. The novice's eyes widened. The old monk's robe darkened with water. His breath stayed steady. He crossed the river slowly, step by step, feeling for stones beneath the current. A slip would mean disaster. But he didn't slip. On the far bank, he set the woman down gently, like placing a lantern on a table. She bowed quickly, whispered thanks, and hurried down the path, disappearing into the mist as if she had never been there. And the two monks continued walking. For a while, there was only the sound of their feet on wet earth. But inside the novice monk, another sound began. A louder one. His mind kept replaying the scene, the woman on his master's back, the rule, the violation. He tried to push the thought away, but the more he pushed, the heavier it became. They walked for hours. The road turned muddy. Their robes collected water and dirt. The novice's sandals sucked at the ground with each step, thick, stubborn mud that made everything feel harder than it should. And the novice's silence grew heavy too. Not peaceful silence, the kind that presses on your chest. His master walked as if nothing happened, calm, breathing evenly, eyes forward. And that made the novice even angrier, because the novice felt pure, and yet he felt poisoned. He thought, I didn't touch her. I followed the rules, so why do I feel worse than him? His jaw tightened. The sun began to sink behind the pines. Fog thickened again. Finally, the novice couldn't hold it anymore. His voice came out sharper than he intended. "Master." The old monk stopped. The novice swallowed. Then the words spilled out like water from a cracked cup. "You broke the vows," he said. "You carried a woman across the river." His face burned with righteousness, and something else too, something he didn't want to admit. Envy, confusion, a desperate need for the world to make sense. The old monk looked at him for a long moment, not angry, not defensive, just looking. Then he smiled, not kindly, not cruelly, simply amused, like someone hearing a child argue with the sky. And he said one sentence, "I put her down at the river." The novice blinked. His master's eyes stayed calm. "But you," his master said softly, "are still carrying her." Silence. The words didn't feel like advice. They felt like a blade. Because suddenly the novice understood what he'd been doing. He hadn't been protecting purity. He'd been dragging a memory. He'd picked up the moment like a stone and carried it for miles, adding weight with each step. Judgment, resentment, imagined shame. The old monk turned and began walking again,
The novice stood still for a moment, staring at his own hands. They were empty, yet he felt exhausted as if he had been hauling something heavy all day. Then he followed, and for the first time since the river, his mind went quiet. Not because he solved the world, but because he finally noticed what he was holding. Some people carry anger like a sacred object. They refuse to put it down because it makes them feel right. But being right is not the same as being free. The river was hours behind them now. The woman was gone. The only thing still present was the novice's attachment to the story. And that is the hidden suffering in most of our lives. We don't suffer from what happened. We suffer from what we keep carrying after it's already over. So here's the question this story leaves you with. What did you pick up long ago and never put down? A mistake? An insult? A regret? A moment that bruised your pride? You may say it's small, but if you carry it every day, it becomes your whole body. The wise aren't those who never get dirty. The wise are those who know when to set things down. Because peace is not found by walking faster. Peace is found the moment you stop carrying what is no longer real.